I once went on a date, and it was the only date I've gone to and I didn't follow through. So let me give you the scenario. We went to have dinner, and I heard this woman say, first of all, she was late. I heard her say, and most restaurants I frequent, I'm very good friends with the waiters, the waiting staff. They know me. I frequent those restaurants. We are friends. So we went to have dinner, and I heard her say she wants a cold, particular drink that she had ordered. And this lady was serving us. It's a good friend of mine, and she's an excellent waitress. So she came back with a cold drink that this lady had ordered. And because I know them, I asked them about their kids and the things they told me they're working on. And so this woman quickly got an attitude. I could see her contorting her face. Like, you know those faces people make when they're registering displeasure? Wow, what do we have here? We have a question. Ask Eric. This is the show where we discuss some of the most pertinent issues that you would be battling privately, corporately, in your girlfriend's group, as a family setup, whatever it is it may be. What we try to do every Wednesday is to suss out some of these difficult conversations and to try and find help. After all, when we know better, we do better. And as I keep saying, the creed of this show is to learn. You sharpen me, I sharpen you, we sharpen one another. At the tail of this cast, there's a number that is going to be sliding gently down your screen. You want to use that number to send a video format that is clear and crisp. If you want your face to be seen by the global strata, and ask your question directly to me, and I'll share it with a bigger audience around the globe so that somebody can help you suss out some of the life's most challenging aspects of your personal life. And through that, you learn, I'll learn, and we become better. And as I keep saying, better is good, and change starts in small spaces. So the question today is a pregnant one. And the question is, as you've heard, how can you tell, good and early, that a man has signs for becoming a womanizer? Have you ever dated a womanizer? You. I'm like, haki mi no, mi imagine nimezingirwa na damu. Well, it's very hard as an adult when you're meeting people because people have a knack to send their representatives. Every time I go on dates, not necessarily romantic ones, but even business meetups, you see people really packaged. You know, they are speaking the right sentences and tenses. And it's very hard if you're not discerning to discern or pull out the veneer that people keep putting on. And so I love this question, and it's an important one. I believe you're going to have a lot of fun and learn. So number one, how can you tell if a woman or a man is a womanizer? Or maybe in a man's case, let me speak from a man's perspective. There's a wonderful principle. There's every time people say, what is the word? They say honesty is the best policy. You've heard that? Honesty is the best policy. But if you think about it critically, honesty scores a distant fourth in the hierarchy of things that are important in terms of knowing somebody's intent. And so I have an idea here. There is a difference between secrecy and privacy. Okay? So when somebody says, why are you going through my phone? You are infringing on my... After you found them cheating, you are not infringing so much on their privacy, you're trying to dig out dirt, okay, that you clearly see they have. So we want to interrogate the differences. So if I say I am traveling, I am going away with my friend for the weekend. Let's say I'm married and I tell my wife, darling, oh, no. If you're going to lie to her, you can't call her darling. So let's call her Ciprosa. Ciprosa, I am leaving, I am going for the weekend. And then Ciprosa says, where are you going? Then I said, don't ask me, woman, about my business. Don't ask me. That is my private business. Is that really privacy? No, that man is being secretive. Okay? So a womanizer has a knack for consistently being secretive. So the idea is this. there's a place for privacy. Let's say I have my laptop and I have an email and my password for my emails. If you should pay a private investigator to hack my computer so that you see my documents, you are infringing on my privacy. But if you have to drain blood out of me to tell you where I am going on the weekend, I am being secretive. But there's a third idea. The third idea, which would make us not fight, transparency. Womanizers don't have a habit to be transparent. What does transparency look like? Hi, Siprosa. Tomorrow at 10, I am meeting Mumbi, Jennifer, and Andrew for brunch to discuss the project that we had told you we are discussing of constructing that building. She's not asked. None of her friends saw me at the mall chewing on steak to report to her so that I explain. I volunteered the information. You see the difference? So, honesty is at the bottom of the barrel. People can be honest, but still not be transparent. For instance, in the case of telling Ciprosa you are going away, I could honestly say, oh, by the way, on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, my friend Nick and I are going to Malindi for a symposium. Am I honest? Yes. Where are we going? Malindi. What are we going to do? A symposium. But I've omitted that we are traveling with 3 beautiful women. You see, we are traveling with 3 beautiful women who don't work with us in the organization. These are our side pieces. Okay? So you want to be able to see their potential in being transparent. If they keep editing, maneno, they edit information, then there's a large percentage of chance that they are not being transparent with you. And so then what are they hiding? That becomes the question, right? The second thing I would say about a man who has a potential of being a womanizer is his past dating history. When you're talking about somebody and who they've dated, if all relationship lasted between a week and 6 weeks, and he's been in 62 relationships, that's quite a telltale sign, isn't it? They don't quite get along with anybody long enough. So like, Jane was a bogus chick. That relationship lasted 4 weeks, man. What about Jennifer? Jennifer, yeah, she's the mother of bogus. Everybody you've dated, all 62 of them, you could only afford 6 weeks per chick. I think that's a telltale sign. Also, what people say about them. Reputation tells a story. For instance, in the work that I've done in the media, for the years I've done in the media, if somebody who's seen my work sees me and you're with them, they'll be like, I know this guy. They'll say some things that adds to my reputation or removes from my reputation. You know what I mean? So if you work out at a gym and everybody says, yeah, that guy is a run through. Frederick, who hasn't Frederick slept with at the gym? See, Frederick used to date Agnes. Yeah, Agnes, this Kerubu Agnes, 1. They dated, yeah. But he had intense coitus with Phoebe. Yeah. No, even we picked them the other day, they were drunk at his house. And he used to also date this woman, the one whose husband left her. Yeah. Also, he's dated. You see, dude has been around. You know, it's very interesting when you read a lot of material from the olden days, from culture, the Kikuyu culture, the Luo culture, the, Zulu, the Xhosa, the Songa, a courtship used to be very different. It's not the way we do it now. So traditionally, courtship was if I am interested in a lady, let's call her Lucy. I want to court Lucy. What I would do is I would go around and ask about her from our relations and our friends. So somebody would say, you remember traditionally they'd say, I know that home. I know the family really, really well. Dr. X, Y, and Z. I know all of his 5 children. In fact, Helen graduated the other day, valedictorian in our class, and she's an engineer. The younger brother is a doctor, and the middle child is in high school. You know what I mean? So parents would really tell you about that family. And friends will tell you about those people. But now we meet women and men on Muindimbingu Street. You followed her because she has a particular waist in particular, which you like. Then you follow her, and then you say, hi, how are you? How are you? My name is Eric, how are you? And then you start courting. Now, think about it. In the court of law, if you've been put on the dock, okay, and you're supposed to witness about your life, and it's hinged on you being released or being locked up, what are you going to say? You say very nice things about yourself. You know, in my family, I'm the fairest. My hair is the longest. I pray 16 times a day. I was even baptized when I was 2. I didn't know, but because I didn't know I was baptized, I decided to be baptized when I was 3 again. I got baptized when I was 8 again. I got baptized again. So I've been baptized a couple of times. I sing in the choir. You say all the nice things that people want to hear so that they can choose you and release you. Okay? So we really need to think about that. Courting people and having conversations with other people about them. Not in a way that is menacing, but just, open your ears about what people are saying. Don't be so closed off and say, I'm tutaki, you don't want it for us. You hate it that we are happy. Yeah, in fact, that's why you guys were lying and saying he's a cheat. You'll be very sorry. Okay? So what is the other thing? Habitually lying. That is another point. If they are lying, they are concealing something. You consistently cut them on a lie. And lying even about simple things like where they are. You can clearly see them on a street. You've seen them in their car and you're like, hey, where are you? They're like, I'm in Thika. What? Are you in Thika? Here in CBD. So if they're lying perpetually, it means they're concealing something. Okay? An idea I see, and I think I used to do this when I was still wild. Your schedules cannot meet. I would only see you at my convenience. Okay? So if it's Friday and you say, hey, I'm just from the salon, I was hoping I could catch you. And all of a sudden, no, you should have told me earlier that you leave the salon earlier because now you see I'm doing. So, but me, I would create time so that I see you because it's convenient for me. And even under that lying and convenience bit, there's a whole conversation about how people behave around their phones. Have you seen these memes where somebody runs out of the bathroom with POV because their phone rang? They can't imagine that the significant other would see. Who is that is calling? Their phones are like conjoined twins. They sleep with their phones, they shower with their phones, the phone is in the car. You cannot touch the phone. They have a very intimate relationship with their phone. That is quite a sign. That is quite a sign that you need to be a bit wary. Unexplained expenses. Yes, that's another one. You see, you're living together and this guy reacts to seafood. But you find long receipts. Somebody was eating seafood with the regularity of often. Every Friday, there's a seafood receipt. And if you ask them, what do you mean? I can't spend things with my friends. But you don't eat seafood. And I asked you where you were, and you said you're working at a restaurant X. And I see seafood and something else. So who is it that is eating seafood with perpetuity? Also, I saw you swiped your card and you bought the latest iPhone. And your phone is an Android. And you didn't buy me an iPhone. And I've met your sisters and your mom and I know all of their phones. So who is this you are buying the latest iPhone for crying out loud? Gabriel. Who are you buying the iPhone? So that is indicative that there's probably hiding something that you need to be very wary of. Disappearing often is another one. When you're transparent, people know where you are, right? But have you ever dated somebody who, between Friday and Monday, they have a serious story about how they were trying to shoo hyenas back to the national park and it took them 17 hours? They were just told by cops that you cannot leave here. We have to send these hyenas back to the national park. And he personally shooed back 230 hyenas. In fact, he's so tired that namuuliza maswali ya nini. He just wants to sleep. Those hyenas almost killed him. And you're busy asking me where was I on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. I was busy. You didn't see it on the news. We were the hyena guys. In fact, we were being told by that cop that he'll forward our names to the president so that we give him the shield of the burning spear for sending hyenas back. And then next weekend, there's another story. You won't believe what happened. I was just driving back home. Then I was called to go to the village that my mother had swallowed a mapera. So I drove. I couldn't even call you to say. I just drove. My phone died somewhere in Pituande. Drove. Then you're like, you come from Kisi. What do you mean Pituande? Oh, no, sorry. I meant Nyaribari. Sorry, I meant Nyamira. Sorry. I said Nyaribari Chache. Sorry, I said Mchitu. I don't know what's wrong with me. I think it's a stress for holding my mom and squeezing her belly so that the mapera can come out. You see, that's a funny story. So the mapera waited on the mom's throat on Friday when she first took a bite until Sunday when he landed. And then he squeezed the mom and the mapera came out. And then now he's come back on Tuesday. But he was busy and his phone had died. And the entire Nyaribari Chache did not have electricity. Does that story make sense? Phoebe? Especially if it's happening with the regularity of often. You see somebody's carrying you malenge. Many male friends or many female friends, depending on their sexes. I mean, I get it that you went to school with person X and Y. If you're in a committed relationship, you can't be spending a gazillion time with the people of the opposite sex. It's not work related. You have John calling and Andrew calling and Philip calling and Derek calling and like, what's going on here? What's going on here? And especially if they are picking the call in a particular manner. They are very, avoidant. They'll go to the other room. They're like, it's Andrew again, hold on. It's Philip again, hold on. John is calling, hold on. I think that is a precursor to disaster. Eh? If they have many friends, like who has 20 female friends calling them and they're married? You have to live above reproach. I get it if you're single and you have 20 friends, but if you're getting very decidedly in a committed relationship, then friends who are genuine can understand that, I am married now. You can't be calling me at 11 o'clock to come change your tires. I used to do that when I was single, but now I can't. My responsibilities start and stop with my family first. Unless you want me to come with my wife, the mother of my children, at night in the middle of nowhere to change your tire, it doesn't make sense. You can't be calling me now with those intimate things we used to do when I was single. Now I am married. They say an English proverb it says, good fences make for good neighbors. Boundaries help with relationships. Set good boundaries. Set good fences. These are the perimeters of our friendship. Don't cross here. And that sometimes includes when you call. I have a lot of married friends myself, men, who I don't call past 7 o'clock. I can't call them because I respect their marriage. And I would imagine how much more their female friends. Surely they can even call and speak to their wives instead of them. So we need to have boundaries. They have history of cheating. History is God's story. I'm not saying that people cannot change, but people seldom change until they want to or they have to. Okay? So if you're starting a relationship with somebody and everybody tells you that this guy has a monstrous appetite for women, you cannot start saying that, he's not seen my beads. He's not seen my beads. He's not seen. You guys are joking. Me. I just need a weekend with him. You drain him proper. He will not get energy. Those other women are jokers. What? Now you are the Mandigo warrior. Now you now with your beads, you're going to change him. So if he was cheating, chances are if he's cheated before, he's going to cheat again. Especially if he cheated with you. The way you got into the relationship through the back door? You guys were breathing next to each other in the car at the parking lot and his wife is upstairs. You're not special. You're like, that same way, he's going to cheat on you. So yeah, if he's cheated, You want to be very, 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 very wary. Okay? If they are flirting, this is very important. But now there's a difference. There are women who can be a bit salty for nothing. I once went on a date, and it was the only date I've gone to and I didn't follow through. So let me give you the scenario. We went to have dinner, and I heard this woman say, first of all, she was late. I heard her say, and most restaurants I frequent, I'm very good friends with the waiters, the waiting staff. They know me. I frequent those restaurants. We are friends. So we went to have dinner, and I heard her say she wants a cold, particular drink that she had ordered. And this lady was serving us is a good friend of mine, and she's an excellent waitress. So she came back with a cold drink that this lady had ordered. And because I know them, I asked them about their kids and the things they told me they're working on. And so this woman quickly got an attitude. I could see her contorting her face, like, you know, those faces people make when they're registering displeasure. And so I didn't pay her any mind. I continued. And the lady came and said, "Here is your drink." And with such a sharp criticism in her tone, she said, Are you deaf? I said I wanted warm. And I was just like, why does she have to be deaf to get an order wrong? So I didn't want to be funny. I said, I could swear I heard you say cold. I really think you said cold. And then I said, I'm so sorry, please change it for her. Because I'm feeling bad. I know these people, don't talk to them like that. And she said, what's your issue with them? You seem to have like a deep relationship. I was like, yeah. So if the conversation is harmless, if you've gone to a restaurant and say, "Hey, Phoebe, how are you?" You can't start asking me, "How do you know Phoebe?" You're calling them by name, Phoebe. "Hey, Phoebe. Hey, Phoebe, how are you?" You're calling people, you are so idle. Phoebe, Phoebe. You're sick. You're the one who has a problem. That is not flirting. I'm talking about flirting where you find your man checking out men. You're at a restaurant, somebody with a heavy set posterior passes, and he's just like, or every comment is laden with a sexual innuendo. You know, he's always complimenting people's bosoms and busts and smiles and dimples. That is flirting, and that is injurious. But the other one, when somebody is being nice because they frequent a restaurant, is not flirtatiousness. So now, if they flirt perennially, consistently, you go to their Instagram and they're always hiring people like an Indian. You know those Indians on Facebook? Hi, 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 hi. If you go to their Instagram and they have, highs, and please send me a photo, and what are you doing this Saturday? And you look so good. Mamma mia, mamma mia. Then they're flirting. And it's indicating that they have a potential to be a womanizer. So you cannot wish that away. That one is there, but you need to read the room to know the difference between somebody being nice and somebody who is flirtatious. Okay? If they use their status, and money to get women. You know those people who like to talk about what they did in 1974 in Wimbledon and how they frequent Japan? You know, they're like, no, it's so funny. The other day I was with the governor of Nairobi in Michigan. The governor was insisting the way we should get the marquees and the long buses. And I said, Governor, I can get 200 buses comfortably, but will they be taken care of? Sweetheart, what is your name? Give me your number. It's a giveaway. If they like to name drop, you know, sitting the other day and Jomo called me. I was just like, Jomo, you are lost. Since your retirement, I've not heard from you. And they're like, which Jomo? Of course, Uhuru Kenyatta, of course. Of course. Which other Jomo do you know? Of course, Uhuru Kenyatta called me. Yeah. Yes. What are we doing this weekend? So if they name drop and they're using a lot of their status and power, especially to get women, they are proud and very arrogant. Chances are, especially if they got you like that, chances are they'll get somebody else like that. Or even if they didn't get you like that, and you see a lot of bravado, a lot of arrogance, a lot of name calling and name dropping and a lot of money. And what is 4 million? The first apartment I bought, and I was a fairly poor young man, was 22 million, and I was struggling then. So somebody is bragging over 4 million. What is that? Now, even in the high ends of 250 million, I buy them in my sleep. Chances are they would be womanizers. If they ask watchmen or waiting staff, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? I can deal with you. If you hear that abusive language and that blatant disregard to other people, especially people who are lower than him in the socio-economical strata, you want to be very, very careful, because abuse of all kinds are related. Physical abuse oftentimes morphs into, verbal abuse oftentimes morphs into physical abuse or vice versa. Okay? So that's what I think. What do you think?